Welcome, Roberto Viola, to IFDaD. Roberto Viola is Director General for Communication Networks, Content and Technology at the European Commission. We are going to talk about innovation in regulation and democracy in Europe. His vision is so important for our future, and I thank you very much to be here, Roberto Viola. Let's start by what kind of society we want to build and what is said by the Declaration of Principles and Rights in the Digital Age.
Many thanks, Luca. So you start with a simple question. What is happening around us goes so fast that sometimes we wonder whether we are able to catch everything, the complexity of it, on top of a very complicated world scenery when it comes to the war, when it comes to the pandemic, when it comes to the profound transformation of our society. The Declaration of the Digital Rights in Europe is an attempt to establish a kind of social contract between the European citizens and institutions, trying to establish what exactly we want from the digital transformation and how we want to shape it. And Europe is known in the world to have this kind of brand, if I'm allowed to call it this way, of a human-centric digital transformation. So the declaration tries to decline it in commitments that the institutions are taking towards the citizens to make this human-centric digital transformation a reality in the area of protecting individuals, protecting the fundamental freedoms of democracy, protecting, the way we interact, the way we work, the way the public services are offering services to us, with the idea that no one should be left behind, that the individual is individual, and public authorities should refrain, from constraining fundamental freedoms, but facilitate whatever it's necessary to make sure that connectivity is a fundamental right in Europe. Freedoms are guaranteed online and offline, and what is illegal offline is illegal also online.
So that sets a sort of image of the society we want, but there is a set of innovative acts and new regulations that has been introduced and will be introduced by the Commission. Do you want to tell us the strategy behind all this innovation and regulation?
Indeed, if the declaration were to be a simple statement of intentions, that would not be a credible exercise. So what it underpins is a solid action when it comes to putting all these principles into action, into motion. So maybe to have a kind of a helicopter view of where we want to go. First of all, looking at the internet, we want to make sure that the internet is a safe, democratic space for everyone to be in, and where competition is guaranteed. And for this, I have three fundamental pillars. Two are already in place. They are now actually law, European law. It's the Digital Service Act, which looks at the services that tells it all. It's about, how we interact with social media platforms, what rights we have, what duties platform have, and especially that responsibility is proportionate to size. The bigger the platform, the more the responsibility. The other one, Digital Market Act, again, market tells what is about. It's fair competition. There cannot be, a competition that is based on size, in the meaning that a very large platform constrains all the other business users, constrains the type of offer that is offered. So the Digital Service Act, Digital Market Act are these twin regulations about the interaction with online platform. And then there's a third and important fundamental pillar, which is the regulation on the European digital identity, which guarantees that our identity online is managed by us, it's under our control, and there are no private monopolies of identity, which in an open society would be unacceptable. Think about, the new augmented reality, virtual worlds, or whatever. Clearly, we want to be ourselves also in that space. And also, it comes with a number of digital attributes and interaction with the public and private providers in a way that you are absolutely in control. So these are the three fundamental elements for us to interact with the online platforms. And then it comes, the issues about algorithms. And we, of course, think AI is a blessing for the humanity. It's one of the most intriguing and important innovations we will have in the future, but there are risks with it. And the AI regulation, it's about allowing whatever is necessary to have a better society, but also making sure we contain the risks when the risks are about fundamental rights or risk to harm or even serious injuries for human beings. So these are the fundamental elements. And then, of course, you have data. And data, it's the oil of, it's already the oil of the next century, not will be the oil of the next century. And there we have two elements, which is the governance of data, so open data, but also data donation. We want citizens in control of which data they want to donate to the society to have a better medicine, to have a better transport system. And this is the Data Governance Act. And then you have the Data Act, which looks at the interaction between the citizens and the connected objects. The last point, I'm sorry, the list is long, but just tells you why it's so important that we cover all the elements when it comes to the digital world. It's about cybersecurity. We have a fundamental law in Europe, which is called the NIS Directive. Now we have the second release, it's called NIS2. Which regulates the responsibility of providers when it comes to security, tells the member states to be ready with the national security plan and national agencies. And then we just proposed the so-called Cyber Resilience Act, which is about the cybersecurity of every individual connected product.
Well, in front of this kind of innovation, many think that law is always following reality. Others think that policy can anticipate reality and technology. Where do you stand? What do you think is the real interpretation of the situation?
My stance to this was when innovation speaks, regulation should actually be on a side and wait for things to happen. This is a view that I developed through the years doing innovation, and I always thought that disruptive innovation goes in the right direction. Now, I think what happened during the pandemic and now with the war allows us to reflect a bit if this is the right way to go. I think in general, this is the way to go, but there are exceptions. And the exceptions are where you want to a little bit prevent that the future becomes dystopic. Take, for instance, the example of artificial intelligence. I think regulating artificial intelligence would be a mistake. It's not a mistake to ask ourselves how to contain the risks of artificial intelligence. Some say the algorithms are too complicated to explain. The algorithms will interact with other algorithms, and the human being should relax, be on the sofa, and watch this interaction between algorithms. Well, I think this is a dystopic view of the future. I'm not sure that we can guarantee that everything will be under human being control because things will happen very, very quickly. a building will be the most complicated robot on Earth. A car will be a very complicated robot, and a building and a car will interact with other things, and all this will be of enormous complexity. So I think to think that the human being is at the center, controls everything, is foolish. But at the same time, that the human being has control of the systemic risk is not foolish, it's wise. So maybe I'm getting older, but my new stance is that there are times where regulation should a little bit prevent or go alongside with innovation.
Well, there is also, I guess it's wisdom comes with experience, not with age, and you have a lot of experience, so we'll listen to what you're saying. But there is also another dimension of the problem. Is regulation only meant to protect from risks, or is it also meant to suggest opportunities for for building a good society? And in light of the ideas, the importance of democracy, this could be an enhancement that comes to democracy from the digital age that goes not, as I said, in the direction of protecting against digital, but making the most of digital to create a better society.
It's a very important point. Though when you look closely to this issue, you have to be extremely careful that protection does not mean direction. A democratic society should refrain from directing citizens in one direction or another. There should be the fundamental right of people, even to do stupid things. That's where it gets really difficult. And that's why it was so difficult for us, but we did it and we are very proud of it, to propose a Media Freedom Act. Because the Media Freedom Act, it's not about what is right or wrong. It's not legislation about the truth. A democratic society should never mediate social media discussions. It's whatever it is, but should make sure, and that's the Media Freedom Act, that you actually can decide what you want to listen to, what you want to read, and also protecting those that do professional information, because that's part of the DNA of a democratic society. So rather than a kind of you should be adhering to certain models, the intent of the Media Freedom Act is to say we will never do that, but we will protect an ecosystem where freedom of choice, professionalism is part of it.
Democracy is protected if citizens are well informed in a ecologically sound media environment, and regulation has a part of this, as it has in any environmental matter.
You know, you can take yes, and this is definitely true, Luca. But I mean, you can take two approaches toward this. A kind of purist approach to say this should be guaranteed by constitutional law. Nothing should be done at the level of regulation. Now, this is the classical approach. What has this approach brought us? It's the disinformation warfare, a lot of chunk in, chunk out, rubbish in, rubbish out because of algorithmic amplification, the death, I hope not, I mean, the coma of professional journalism. Or, I mean, there are few professionals surviving, but it's really becoming a tough job. So I don't think that this is a vision that we should be proud of. So simply relaxing and thinking that our constitution in democratic society protecting free speech, we thought is not enough. So we thought that, I mean, freedom is not in discussion, but I mean, there should be the fundamental element of quality into media. Quality means that journalists have to do their job without political influence of the influence of the owners of media groups. And now, this is very much debated right now, this proposal, I mean, to have no interference in the journalistic life. By the way, it's in every, I mean, code of conduct in Europe, and this is widely recognized as an important element. We are simply saying whatever mean the owner of media would like to take to guarantee the freedom of journalists for us is fine, but there should be a reflection about it. Like, I mean, there should be the absolute prohibition for politics to control media in any form, being it by providing advertisement to favorite media, by controlling, I mean, public media services, or by influencing, I mean, media outlets. So this, for us, it's a very important element in the fight to disinformation. The more we have quality journalism, the more we have professional journalism, and the journalists themselves need to be protected. Need protected from spying, from aggression, from whatever, I mean, makes the life of journalists more complicated. So if we have the lifeblood of investigative journalism, fact-checking, all of this, I don't think this alone will allow to say victory towards, I mean, this kind of widespread issue about degrading the information landscape, but at least we probably have tried to give some answers. And that's why the Media Freedom Act is so important and complements what we have done with the online platforms.
Well, thank you very much, Roberto Viola, for this contribution to IFDaD. It was a pleasure to hear your words and your vision, and I give back the floor to the rest of the conference. Thanks again, Roberto Viola.
Thank you to you. Thank you to all.